So, welcome everyone. So, we take great pride in welcoming our guest in the webinar, Mr. Yeshwanth Raj Parasmal. Mr. Yashwant, so he's somebody who's not just building a school, he's reimagining what education can truly be. And very clearly, he believes that education is not about ranks or marks or exams alone. It's about knowing the potential and helping every child discover their unique path. So clearly, he is bridging and creating an equal platform for everybody.
Interestingly, his own journey is inspired from his own schooling years. He believes that while the school ranked him, the real transformation came not because of the school, but despite the school. It was the ecosystem beyond the school where he got the right guidance and encouragement, which actually transformed him to work on this mission where the children are not defined by a number, but empowered by their strengths.
Wow. And that's what led to the creation of 21K School. It's a global learning community. It spans over 34 countries. It is designed for the world children. I mean, the children who are stepping into the new world and not exactly for the world where we grew up, because demands of the coming times are going to be very different. So we can't really have that standardized education for everybody. And the impact is already visible. Today, 21K schools, I mean, here you find children who are already young authors. They are TEDx speakers, they are innovators, they are children who are earning their opportunities at NASA Space Camp, even making a mark in Bollywood
Wow.
or becoming part of National Law School. The children are being actively nurtured here.
And by the way, he has also authored a book called The Parent's Handbook to Rethinking Education. This is a guide which helps families make thoughtful and informed choices, particularly in the world today where there are so many options that it becomes overwhelming for us all parents.
And by the way, let us also share that his own son has been being homeschooled at 21K school for the last 6 years, and he's making remarkable strides in progress. The learning journey absolutely should be about encouragement, it should be about support, and that is what the vision of 21K is. Today, we welcome Mr. Yashwant to kindly answer the urgent, pressing questions which have been rattling the minds of the parent community of how really homeschooling works, how it can be structured, how it can really become possible for all types of families. So, welcome note by Mr. Yashwant.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Rouble and Shikha. It's really a pleasure and a honor to be here amongst parents, a focused, dedicated group of parents who want to know and understand more about homeschooling. I think the very fact that we are having this conversation is very telling because the times have changed. I've seen the growth of homeschooling community over the last many years, and it's absolutely fascinating time.
Superb. So before we continue this conversation, just quick rules for everybody. Before this webinar began, we had already circulated and requested the parent community to send in questions. And we're very happy to share there were more than 100 questions. And all of those questions, yes, they had some commonalities. We could really figure out what are the common pressing concerns. So we have handpicked around 12 questions which we know everybody wants an answer to. We will continuously talk about these questions till, let's say, next 40 minutes. And after that, the last 15 to 20 minutes would be for the Q&As. That's when the parents could ask questions or their questions will be addressed. But, throughout this webinar, parents are more than welcome to send in your questions because, see, everybody has a personal story, a personal case. We, luckily, from 21K School, we have their team even behind the scenes. So they are reading through all the chats and comments that you are dropping. There is somebody called Karuna. If you could actually send Karuna your name and number, you would actually get even the hand holding that you need. Somebody calling you in person, resolving your doubts and queries, that is also possible. But whatever doubt, query you have, keep writing in the comments. And the team of 21K School is totally here addressing them. So let's begin this conversation. Over to Shikha.
Okay, so now moving to the questions. So, Yash, let's start simple. What does homeschooling really mean today? I mean, if homeschooling is a school at home, Wouldn't it be very unstructured and chaotic for the parents? What is your take on it?
Well, I have a very different take, Shika, on this. I think homeschooling is very structured. I mean, it's not about not having structure. I think that would be completely chaotic. But today the things have changed. Just because the child is at home doesn't mean it's homeschooling. It's more intentional. It's not about removing structure, but redesigning structure around the child. As long as if it's
Okay,
learning
so
centric, it'll be fantastic. Yeah.
superb. So it's about building that structure around the child and building the structure, maybe that's more conducive to the needs of the child. And that's where the parents become the agent of change. Are we right about it, Yash?
Absolutely, because even today, if you think of it, like the learning has gone beyond the classroom. Those learners who are even within the traditional schools are no longer just learning inside the classroom. A lot of learning is happening at home and school in terms of the society and places. So, largely, I would still think there's a large element of homeschooling which every child is today going through.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, so another pressing concern today, or I would say the most common myth surrounding homeschooling is, of course, that it is only suited for certain children. Maybe the children who have special needs, or the children who are prodigies or very extraordinarily talented. And parents believe that now these are the children who have discovered their prodigiousness in the early years, and now they can work on their professional journeys right now. So or they say that homeschooling is for the royalty. I mean, Queen Elizabeth the First was homeschooled. Or for somebody from the absolute upper echelons of the society who can afford those personal tutors. So, what is your take? Is homeschooling only for select families or for everybody?
Oh, absolutely no. I don't think homeschooling is only for selected families, neither for the gifted nor for the special kids. I think it's for every family who discovered that learning has to be more intentional, more personalized, and revolve around the child. If you have dedicated, involved parents and the child, I think you can bring a lot of structure at home, which is traditionally called as homeschooling. But doesn't mean that unschooling and other options are not there. It's not about the piece. In fact, I feel that homeschooling is probably more expensive than traditional schooling in terms of the time, efforts, and the lot of work and efforts that the parents put in.
Right.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, I think an absolute eye opener. So,
Shall I help you with the chart?
clearly, homeschooling is about bringing that structure home. There is no doubt. It's about discovering what works for the child. Yes.
Okay, so let's ask this bluntly now. If today a parent removes a child from the traditional school, what would his day looks like in a homeschool? And what would be the structure or the timetable or the routine of the day and the subsequent days as a
So,
homeschooler?
clearly, what
Yeah.
exactly a homeschool
Team.
routine or timetable looks like? Because we are imagining children waking up late
Yeah, very
and not really bothering.
I think one clear thing that comes to my mind is that the first day of your homeschooling should not look like a school. I think most homeschooling parents and learners make the mistake that they're trying to create or recreate the structure of a school at home by becoming teachers themselves. I think
Okay.
that's a big mistake, right? I mean, homeschooling is about having a structure, having a pace, but keeping your child at the center of everything that you do. It doesn't mean that you don't have structure. So if your child is waking up late, it's okay occasionally, but if it becomes a habit, then you'll have to rethink.
Okay, I think that's amazing that it's actually about, as he said, that there is a structure and you have to discover it, or kind of that skeletal structure breaks.
Yeah.
So I think here, now we know that the world outside is talking about things like which boat to take, right? So before we
Mhm.
take that big question, I just want to remind all those who have joined now that there is a Q&A section which we are going to take at the end of this webinar. And during this conversation, please feel free to put in your questions in the comment box. And if you want to drop in your number and name directly for more personalized counseling and consultation, there is somebody called Karuna who's already texting. Just personally drop your name and number there, right? Because we understand there are conversations which could be more one to one. So, beyond this webinar, there's this whole personal opportunity for you. So, I was talking about, Yash, the parents out there, they're talking about what board to pick. particularly the conventional school parents. They say, should we go for CBSE or ICSE, Cambridge or IB? I mean, on one side, that also becomes a big reason why a lot of families are becoming disillusioned. They don't trust the schooling anymore because they feel it's becoming more commercialized, all about boards, and they're forgetting the real essence of learning journey is learning, getting that knowledge. So the question here is, would homeschoolers have to worry about boards? What board to pick?
I think it's a very important question from the parents' perspective. But I think the key thing is here at what age of the child. Because what really pains me is to see, a lot of learners, even at 21K school, when they join in, they started inquiring about which board would be suitable. I mean, the child is still 6 years, 7 years old, right? I mean, at this age, you want to really focus on the foundations of learning for the skill building rather than being worried about which group. Because what I think for us, it's important to understand that if the child is well prepared in terms of his life skills, concepts, knowledge, expertise, he will be prepared for life, not just for the board exam. So I think the board itself questions should be relevant once the child is probably 12, 13 years, where you want to set to define a career pathway in terms of the board and which board would be suitable for his own career pathway and interest. So there are certain subjects which CBSE and ICSE does not offer compared to even NIOS and Cambridge. So I think the interest of the child should determine which board you want to take rather than simply going with the flow of the market saying that if you want to do IIT, choose CBSE. I think nothing could be more wrong than that.
So, and I
Yeah.
think often parents forget that boards eventually are just assessment bodies. It's about
Exactly.
the ecosystem you create for your child. So clearly, Yash has highlighted that it's about discovering the interest of the child. That's how the board choice matters. Education is about foundational training, discovering and working on your skill set. Those should be the priorities.
Absolutely, yeah. So, when we began this webinar, before that, we had requested the parents to shoot out their questions at us so that we really know that what parents are really expecting out. So, one question which was very straightforward and interesting, that what is actually the ideal age when this homeschooling journey should start? Until what grade level should homeschooling be continued?
Oh,
Yeah,
very
that was a
important.
frequent
That was a
question.
frequent question.
I think what comes to my mind, I feel that I am in probably in my school completing my grade 42, assuming that I started grade one in 6 years old, right? I think learning never stops and homeschooling would be relevant at all age groups. Of course, there's an advantage if you start early because you could condition the mind. It's purely based on the learning science and the, how the child's mind evolves over the year. You don't want to. I mean, I was just speaking to someone earlier who wanted to take admission in a traditional school much earlier. I said, just be cautious that the child's curiosity doesn't get dampened or, that flame doesn't get extinguished because he's found a wrong teacher or because, he's had a bad experience because that will stay with him for longer. So it's important to set the foundation right. Obviously, I think homeschooling can start at any age group, even at middle school or senior school. But if you start early, you're definitely giving the child a head start.
So I think here I'm going to ask directly. Let's say a mother who texted us is that she has a child who's 2 years old. Can they take your expertise, 21K support at that age?
I mean, I personally believe that up to 6 years, no schooling is essential. It's not required. I think, see, it comes back from, I think one of my mentors, I had asked him, what is the ideal teacher student ratio? And he said 2:1, two teachers, one child.
Right,
Clearly that's the parent, right? I mean, both the parents and the child. And at least for the 6 years, the first 6 years, you should allow the child, to grow in the comfort love. See, the right now, I think the first 6 years, the foundation that the child needs is about the love, trust, well-being, that comfort before he steps into the world outside, right? Before he connects with the social. There's a lot of written work about social anxiety and others. That's purely because I think so 2 years is not the right age. But of course, at 21K school, we start our schooling from 3 years and above with the early years program. But, at 2, 3, 4, I would definitely suggest that the child is at home. I mean,
right. So I
discussions
think
are
that would
about.
be more like the support that the school provides, the instructions, the curriculum, the guidance to the parents when the child is very young, right? A-
Absolutely.
And then let's say another parent, although let's say the parent herself, she said she would like to get education. She's 40 years old. Can she homeschool herself with 21K school?
Not with 21K school, but you can definitely homeschool yourself. I think there's enough experience and expertise around your own thing because learning doesn't stop. So I think that's why there are a lot of edtech companies on reskilling and learning because today's reality is such that you will have to continuously unlearn and relearn the process. Things have changed. Just imagine 5 years back and today, the expectations, requirements from a professional is so very different, right? So learning
So
never
different.
stops. Yeah.
But would you agree grade 12 can take your support, a grade 12 student?
Yes, they can.
So that means officially it's 3 plus, but still, if a parent has your preferred age would be 6 plus, right? But then again, they can take guidance before that.
Absolutely.
I would
Right.
always try because one thing that Shikha and I really specialize in is
Hmm.
bringing a concrete answer for the parent community because these are the buzzing questions. A lot of them have queries, and even the next one, Yash, which I'm going to drop out,
Mhm.
is a big one. So, a red alert question. Every parent, I'm sure, out there wants an answer to this. So, would a homeschooler be able to apply for higher education? Would he be eligible for entrance exams like JEE, NEET, SATs, and other competitive exams in India and international?
So I'll answer this in two ways, Rubal and Shika. So I think the first part is that, one, it's important to understand that the homeschooling is a 16 years journey, assuming that you start in the early years, right? So if you lose path and if you want to go back to the formal education system, the child should be prepared to go back to the formal school system. I mean, that's A. Second, to get into the university, the Indian education system as well as universities abroad requires some certification at exit level. That's grade 12, which is A levels in Cambridge and diploma program at IB and Indian is the senior secondary program. So I think that certification could be prepared through NIOS as a private school with Cambridge board or Edexcel board or American board. So I think as long as you're prepared and you've secured those certifications, you will be eligible to apply to any university in India, including IIT and medicals and UPSC and other things. There is no homeschooling is not barred in India, like in some lot of European countries and South American countries, it's barred. So you will be eligible, but provided you also get that certification along with that equivalence saying that, I mean, if you have appeared through the formal education system like NIS or Cambridge, which 21K school offers, you would definitely get the path towards the higher education system.
Wonderful. So that means we have our very clear answer there that yes, it is eligible. The students qualify for all the entrance tests, they qualify for higher education. The only thing they have to ensure is that they have those exit pass certificates. Are we right? And 21K
Right.
school indeed can help students. And I think the leading boards, you have the Cambridge and you have the NIOS. So whether it is Indian eligibility
Or
or
international,
international,
both are
students are
covered.
good to go.
Right.
Okay.
So we also offer the Edexcel program. Yeah.
Okay. And how is that different from the other boards?
So Pearson Edexcel is also, because they offer certain programs which is recognized in certain other parts of the country much more favored compared to the Cambridge. And also the difference comes in the science. So for Edexcel program, there are no science practicals up to grade 12, which makes
Okay.
it much easier for a lot of homeschooling parents compared to the requirement of science practicals in 11th and 12th at NIS and Cambridge.
Right. So, okay, over to you, Shikha.
So, my next question would be so, one claim of 21K school that really stands out that it helps giving personalized learning pathways to children. Now, if you're talking about the structured homeschooling, then how can curriculum and learning outcomes really be personalized? Because if it's structured, we assume that it is expected to be one size fits all approach.
Oh, yes. Like, how can it be personalized yet structured? Because structured education usually brings to your mind timetables, fixed formats, but then personalized makes you think that maybe for our child, we can do something more distinctive, more specialized. How could it be both ways? Have we lost Yash? Are you there, Yash?
Allow me a moment. I will just try and see.
Right. But I think in the meantime, we are very happy to receive the questions from the parents. Please go ahead, put up your questions. The community is, I'm in 21K School and their team are more than happy to address your questions. We could actually read some questions together. So, Sneha asks, in homeschooling, how do we ensure exposure to different subject areas besides the basic subjects? Please share with relevant examples. So we have Yash here. Very interesting questions there. We'll come back to that. So Yash, can you hear us?
Yeah, yes,
So
sorry, I
I'll
think I
just,
lost.
don't worry, I'll just repeat the question. We were talking about how, on one side, we call homeschooling, let's say, personalized. That means it is going to be more suited to the student. But then on the other side, we're also calling it structured, which puts in our mind there are timetables, there are, I mean, formats, fixed formats. How can homeschooling be both personalized as well as
Right. Yeah.
structured?
So I think if you look at the continuum of learning, I mean, there is at one extreme you have unschooling, and then other extreme you have traditional schooling. Online schooling like 21K school is actually a midway between the extreme of unschooling and the traditional schooling, where we are trying to give structure to the homeschooling segment because a lot of parents struggle to complete the formal learning path, especially if the child is in the middle school and above, where science, math, and certain language concepts, second language, third language, becomes very difficult to be delivered at home. The learning outcomes are not exactly met by the child, right? So we want to ensure that there are only 3 to 4 hours of the schooling that it happens in the traditional system. There are no uniforms, there's no travel time, says, at least 4 to 5 hours per day. And where the parents' role comes in is in terms of filling in the other areas where the formal schooling imparted through online schooling like 21K school is not met. For example, for my son, I make sure that he is getting exposure towards STEM education or sports work of his choice or art. That's an effort that I'm taking him. I mean, we do sit and do a lot of our own project. Every Saturday we take him to one of the markets, bazaars. So that's the beauty of online schooling. It gives you the flexibility of what homeschooling requires without taking away all the stress and the resources constraints that could happen in terms of the formal learning of the subjects. At 21K school, again, the personalization comes because of our technology tech stack. We deliver the classes to a group of 24 or 20 learners in the classroom, but personalization comes because of our personalized learning engine. We offer multiple language choices, multiple boards, different batch timings. So flexibility is inbuilt into the system and rigor at how we think because we leverage technology to a great extent.
Wow, I think that's what defines it as the first. I think, am I right if I say that it was the first online school in the country?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, when we started, we were the only second online school in Asia.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So I think a very daring move because see, we homeschooled, Shikha and I homeschooled our children in their early years. So we know how challenging it is to do it for your child and then doing it for the community. Wow,
Oh,
it
yeah.
takes
Stands out.
big vision,
Yeah.
big guts. So when we hear the word homeschooling, naturally we start imagining that there would be no formal assessment, right? Just as we have exams in the school, tests in the school. So, if there are no formal assessments like that in homeschooling, how would the parents really know that their child is academically progressing? I mean, is there a need for some benchmarks which help
Mm.
parents understand that the child is learning?
So that's one of the key challenges because you don't have a benchmark when you're homeschooling. I see a lot of parents struggle in understanding. Some of them have done a lot more research and understand, very intuitively, or they also appear for certain scholastic assessments with different boards like Olympiads and other things to know the how the child stands. But it's very personalized in terms of just knowing. So you would not know where exactly the child stands and I think a very important aspect of any learning is an assessment because assessment is not about how much the child remembers, but how well has the concepts been understood by the child. And without getting that feedback, you would never know whether he needs further reinforcement or further exposure towards that topic, that understanding. Of course, I mean, as a parent, when you're interacting with the child, you would know that the child has understood the concept but testing that using learning science with different approaches. The simple thing like on the Bloom's taxonomy, where you have to look at right from understanding to application of knowledge. And the way you design the assessment becomes all the more critical to know what is the depth of understanding of the child on that particular concept. I mean, that's a very important, crucial element of learning.
So, I mean, let's say if somebody is part of 21K family, so are there assessments there?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the assessments are not very formal assessments up to the age of 8, and then we have structured formative and summative assessments. But it's not. I mean, I just completed my assessments for my child, and he was chilling out. He was more happy that there are no classes. He can use the time better rather than prepare because it's not at a very concepts and skill-based level. There's no pressure of the assessment. I keep telling this to our team as well, our crew, that assessments is more of feedback for us to say that how well have we thought, because the goal is not to teach the child, the goal is to ensure that the child has learned the concepts that's being taught.
All right.
Very true.
Just as Sir Ken Robinson in TEDx, he says, teacher's role is to facilitate learning. And if the
Absolutely.
child is for some reason not performing, it's a data point and feedback for the teacher to really chisel and tweak the lesson plan accordingly. Very well said. And I think one little element which we could share very much, which resonates with Yash's journey, while we were homeschooling or studying this topic for our children, we were very sure about one thing. Sometimes, because of the schools, the conventional schools, we overdo stuff. We end up putting our children in a lot
Lot of
of
classes,
courses,
yeah.
lots of classes, when actually we forget that the essence of homeschooling is that the child learns organically. So, as long as his basic academic needs are being met either by parents or by a structured online school like 21K school, the parents could actually simply be delving on the pursuits the child likes to do. For example, doing a lot of reading if the child is into reading, maybe finding that perfect local music teacher who can, or an art teacher who could help the child with arts. Or I think simple
Right.
things. Often we underestimate our relatives, the
Yeah.
grandparents, the aunts who could actually be teaching the life skills
Life
as
skills,
simple as
cooking,
cooking
yeah.
or putting up pickles. So it's actually about discovery. Would you agree, Yash, on this?
Absolutely, but also there's another element, right? It's about not being, too worried about comparisons, because as parents is very natural. I mean, some relatives' kids are home, and then you see gaps in the way the child speaks or about GK or knowledge,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
you start questioning about your own methods and am I doing right as a homeschooling parent? I'm sure, all of us would have gone through that stage of self-doubt whether I'm doing this right for my child. I think it's very important to have that confidence and balance in what we're doing, because as long as there is a structure, there is a rigor, there's a flexibility, you're designing the right system. The
Wow.
children learn at their own pace. Some may learn today, some may learn a week later, some may learn a few months later, but all kids learn.
Oh, yes. Just as we often advocate, there's structured time and there is unstructured time, but you cannot have the entire unstructured day. Yes.
Right.
Also, there is one biggest nagging fear in every homeschooling family. How would the child compete in the real world? I think the only argument that the non-conventional, schoolers make against homeschooling is that if the child is not sent to the conventional school, he would not develop the social skills.
Oh,
He
yes.
would become a comfort zone child. He would not have that resilience. So, what is your take or argument on this?
See, both as an experience as a parent plus as a founder of 21K School, there are a lot of published reports in USA, which is a very developed ecosystem for homeschooling. The homeschooling children are far more social, and also academically they're achieving more at the diploma level in USA. They have fared much better. As a parent, also, I've seen the same exposure. And the reason being, I mean, I think we know the facts that homeschooling kids are far more social, and I see this with thousands of kids at 21K school, is simply because the child is interacting with wider age group of parents, of people. I mean, he's not just interacting with a group of learners in the same age group. In fact, having set up 75 schools, Rubel, I can tell you, any principal would be very worried if a grade 4 child is talking to a grade 8 child in a school. there's so much of worry about, bullying, harassment. Why is he talking to a senior grade child? So it's not encouraged that a child speaks to a senior student at all. And imagine this with a homeschooled kid who's getting to interact with wider group of people, in his residential area, in his family, in the activity centers, through his projects, works, and activities. He develops far more confidence and, comfort in his own skin in order to be more social and communicative.
And I think just parallel to this, you just mentioned, and before I ask that, so all those who've joined now, there is a Q&A at the end of the session. The last 20 minutes are reserved for the Q&A, but please keep dropping your questions in the chat box. And they're lovely questions. We are so happy to receive them because a lot of them are already going to be covered in the list that we have made. So, Yash, you mentioned 75 schools you set up. This is just my personal curiosity. What kind of schools? Are they physical schools?
Yes, they were all physical schools until I discovered the power of homeschooling. I was on a mission to help every learner succeed, and I thought the best way was to set up physical schools in locations. So I started with very remote areas like Dantewada, Kabardha, in Chhattisgarh, in Assam, villages like Bongegaon, Shivsagar, and other places. But then I realized that's not going to solve anything. I may end up my life in another 10 years and may set up another 70, 100 schools, but that's not going to difference. That's why I leveraged the power of technology and created an online school by which we could accommodate and reach out to larger group of parents.
Okay, so that means now this really makes me curious, and I'm going a little overboard from my list, but I want to know. So, your goal was to help community, right? So, you started by building physical schools, and but then you thought that via online school you could reach out to more places. Are we right about it?
Absolutely. I think the essence of online schooling is the reach, equity, affordability, leveraging technology to ensure there's a data-driven instruction. No child is left behind in its pursuit of success because there's still great shortage of talent. Not everybody is brave enough to accommodate or look at homeschooling. A lot of smaller cities and towns do not have a very developed ecosystem in order of extracurricular, co-curricular activities or centers like robotics and others. So I think there's a genuine problem that we were trying to solve with the 21K school.
Right, very interesting. So I do want to know how that seed was sowed into you, but I think let's ask the questions of the people first. So now I think another important question here. Parents worry, let's say that profile building, that's like a big word. We have to create the child's profile, although that also becomes a reason why a lot of parents homeschool because then they can modulate and regulate their child's profile building on their own because they would be with the child throughout the portfolio management. But the question here is, would you agree that it is easier for homeschooling parents because they save on that travel time and the large hours in the school to work on the child's profile? Number one. And if it is easier, what exactly is the profile which you would say should be built for a child who's homeschooled and would be aiming for the top universities in the world?
So the profile building is important in today's time. It's definitely easier for a homeschooled child and the family to look at building the profile. But it also means that you need to really plan it much ahead in advance. You can't be thinking about building profile while the child is 13, 14 years. I think it comes from much before. I know a family who's been doing a lot of social and charitable work right from and it's not driven with the intent of building the profile but simply as a part of the learning journey. I also know about a family who started investing a lot in terms of the STEM, which led to the child actually having a patent in their own child's name, right? So it's about writing books. I mean, there's another child I know, Rabianshi, who's written multiple books, and a couple of her books were launched by the President of India and the Prime Minister of India. So it begins more, I think, but the intention behind those learning gaps should lead to as a profile, but not with the intention of let's build profile and so let's sign up and do some work with YMCA or some other thing. I think that's a wrong approach.
Wow. So I think it's organically because the parents get to spend and watch their child, spend more time and watch the growth of their child. They organically discover the inclinations and dispositions of their children. And I think above everything, the child can now decide more he wants to do in the day. Because if you have, let's say, chunked out a lot of hours, saving it from the conventional school, now that's where the child can actually invest time.
And I think the parents also, they get to know the interest of the child, and obviously, I mean, they will be working automatically, organically on that profile building.
And that's where the discovery
Yeah,
happens.
yeah.
Yes.
And there's a very important point to that why also this happens is because the homeschool child is less stressed.
Oh, yes.
I think we underestimate the stress in the children today, and but there is a lot of stress because we don't have measures or we simply underregard the stress in the child. A stressful child is one who is not getting good food, good sleep, and is overburdened with the academics or sidetracked because of the pressure of performance in the classroom by the teachers, by his peers, by the other families members. I think that stress really comes out in different forms for the child. But at homeschooling, I hope that the parents are not putting the same pressure to create the stressful situation. But eventually, I think the child will be able to perform better because he's having less stress as well.
Absolutely. So let's move on to next question. So parents pick schools because they believe that they would get everything under one roof, particularly talking about extracurricular activities. So how do homeschoolers fulfill their quota for extracurricular activities?
This is one thing which I never understood. How does one playground, one swimming pool accommodate 2,000 learners in a school? I mean, if it was that easy, I think, we could have done much more, but it
Maybe
never
one period
happened.
in a week, kind of.
One period in a
Yeah.
week is not sufficient. And I think it's also you're paying for the fees in a school for music classes, but if the child wants to learn piano, he's being taught harmonium because the school offers only piano. So it doesn't work out. I think eventually you will have to find what the child's interest is then, and you'll have to provide. And there is enough systems, both online and offline, today that's available for you to cater to the needs of the child. So extracurricular doesn't means just because something is being done, you do that, but find the inclination, but give a wider choice. It's okay, you signed up for piano classes, and after 10 classes, your child says, no, I'm not interested anymore. Move him to rock band or move him to, okay, vocal classes, but give that exposure. Don't stop because simply he didn't complete a piano course and simply because you signed him or you forced him to do it.
How well said, and eventually, anyway, even if the parents are sending their children to a conventional school, the evenings are full of those extracurricular
Extracurricular.
classes
Yeah.
anyway. So that means the concern for how the child would get all those extracurricular is actually not relevant because even in the school, those things usually are for the namesake
Yeah.
or for the infrastructure,
Absolutely.
for the, as we say, for the brochures. So if the parents have that facility in the evening in their neighborhood, nothing better. So, yes.
So,
And just think of this summer programs that starts, right? I mean, there's a huge craze across India. Summer aa raha hai, I mean, there are a lot of people offering summer programs, but these are the skills that you need to be building the rest of 10 months, right? I mean, the 2 months, let the child rest, let the child have fun, let the child travel, let the child be with his families. But instead, we're pressurizing them to do summer camp programs and learn more and more, I think. Yeah.
Oh, yes,
yeah.
exactly.
So, Yash, can you make us imagine how the classes at 21K school looks like, how they are like? And is there a peer interaction and collaboration in the classes as
And
well?
the purpose of this question is to really imagine, let's say, if somebody now decides to homeschool and they get structural support from 21K, how would his day look like?
See, the parents have complete choice in terms of what they want to do with this 3 hours. So they can choose between morning classes and afternoon time schedule. And there are 24 learners in the classroom supported with one teacher. Parents can also choose smaller class sizes like 16 and 20 learners, depending upon what works best for the families. A typical classroom is conducted on a portal on the Zoom classes. A first time listener, like, some of the candidates whom we were hiring as principal, they said, your classes are so chaotic. Why is the teacher not speaking more? And I'm very happy to hear that feedback because the classrooms are far more interactive. I think it's a flip learning model. So 21K school itself stands for flip of K-12. We quite literally wanted to flip the way K-12 education is in. And also, it's a flip learning model where classwork becomes homework, homework becomes classwork. So our kids even write in KG, they come prepared for the class and they have a discussion, they present, they discuss, they have a conversation about it. So a lot of learning happens just by discussions and collaborations between the learners rather than a teacher. So it's definitely not a teacher standing on a platform and delivering his lecture. That's not 21K.
So,
Somebody actually asked the question, what does 21K mean? Is there in the
okay,
chat box the question?
you can answer. So what
Yeah.
21K is?
As a flip side, K-12,
Ah,
yeah.
lovely. That's so interesting, Yash. I think that's a winner here. So 21K is the flip
Education
education
of,
model.
Flip
yeah.
And
education.
now nobody will forget that and value 21K more. So I also have a question related to that. How would the child pass out year by year? Like, how does a year end in an online school?
See, I think the critical thing is, of course, that every child gets promoted to the next grade based on the age and capability. But we don't want any child to suffer and be called that he's not learned the concepts at the end of the term or end of the year. At every unit level, we ensure that the child has understood the concept. I mean, this is coming from a very personal experience of my own schooling days, and I know that if a child continues to miss out on understanding the concepts, let's say chapter one or unit one, he's not understood, there is no way that he will understand chapter two. So we do a lot of efforts through. So we have three levels of scaffolding technology: one is to one, behavioral sessions, guidance, and everything that we do to ensure that the child understands the concept before the next concept is introduced. And that's been a big game changer at 21K School. All our
Okay.
classes are conducted live, interactive classes. There are no recordings, though the recording of that class is made available at the end of the day. I have a very interesting group of parents also. They have given the freedom to the student to log out if he doesn't find it interesting, if he's not in a mood. So we saw that pattern. He was consistently logging off from the second language classes. He was very excited about science, math, and suddenly the schedule says language and he will miss it out. I mean, see, that data we gave to the parent, and the parent spoke to the child and developed inculcation of learning additional language. I mean, see, that's the beauty of it, right? Otherwise, you can have a child growing in certain areas, but he's not growing in certain areas. But if you have a data banked sessions and feedback given to the families, we didn't force the child to come and attend the class. We didn't punish him. We didn't relegate him. But the feedback was important for the family to know that the child is not understand. Is not happy learning additional language. And in fact, we found out that there were certain other areas and reasons, and that's being solved.
Okay, so that means it's also about the discovery of what child really prefers. Now, because we are left with a few minutes before we break for Q&A, let's have rest of the questions as a rapid fire so that we could have shorter answers but more concrete answers. So, a direct question. If you could list one disadvantage of homeschooling, what would that be?
Lack of structure.
Oh, yes. And that's where I think 21K solves their
Okay.
problem. Okay,
அப்படி
if
பண்ணா எனக்கு எப்படி இருக்கும்? கோவம்
so
வருமா
let's
இல்லையா? I
be
don't like my personal.
okay. So let's also talk about another thing, which is trial period. So let's say if today somebody wants to try homeschooling for a few days, for a few months, how much of a trial period should he go for? And can he re-enter the school after that trial period?
Oh, of course. I think homeschooling is can be tried, and you should try it out. And if it doesn't work, you can always join back any formal school system. So I think there is never a late period or late date, or it's not a irreversible decision.
Okay, so that means somebody can try for how many weeks or months would you recommend? Maybe a
As
year?
long as the family is comfort, but don't give up too early. I think just trying it out for 1 month is too less.
And
I
I
think.
think we have a rule of thumb for Shikha and me. We say till grade 8, the
Yeah,
world is
you
yours.
can try anything.
Try anything. So I think till grade 8, that's how the parents enjoy their parenting more. This is what we have felt. When you start questioning the society in terms of what has already been given to you in a platter, rather than simply endorsing it, let's question it, find something for our child which is different. Another question, a lot of parents think that the child has to be self-motivated as the class advances. Only then homeschooling would work. If the child is, let's say, not really into studies, homeschooling cannot work. What is your take?
See, I was pushed to the school. I was not motivated, but I think motivation comes because of structure, feedback, and more understanding about the child. As long as the child is comfortable within the system, I think he will get motivated.
So can he really cope up with complex math topics also in homeschooling via online support?
He should be able to do that. I think the pace may differ, the depth may differ, but ultimately the child will be able to cope with it.
And schools nowadays, they advertise a lot of extra courses like coding and robotics. How do you see their relevance in homeschooling? How much of them are possible?
So the coding and robotics for us is more about developing the skills of problem solving, critical thinking, logical reasoning. It's not essentially to become an engineer, but it does develop a part of your brain, which is critical for the child's success.
So can would let's say 21K support in those extra programs? Do we have those subjects as part of the curriculum?
Absolutely. So we start coding and computational thinking right from grade one.
Okay.
And this year onwards, we've also opened some of the subjects like Mastery English, Math, and the language program. So even if you don't sign up for the entire school program, you can also just sign up under 21K Learning Flow, where you can just pick up one of the languages or mastery pathway in English and Math.
So that means when there is primary consultation given from 21K school, the parents could actually design the curriculum and the subjects, what they
It's
want their
very
child to
tailored
do.
approach.
It
Yeah.
can be very tailored.
Absolutely.
Are we right
Correct.
about it? It can be very tailored.
Absolutely. It could be tailored. Yeah.
Okay, so I think now is the time for the Q&A because we really want more and more parents to get the support. So
Mhm.
Karuna, over to you. You could raise the questions asked and Yash is here to answer them.
So, Dr. Rubel, I've had a lot of personal questions being asked, but I think a lot of them are leaving questions in your inbox.
Okay, so
Personally.
I can
So,
share.
yeah.
Perfect. So everybody, all those who have questions, please keep dropping them. Let's have back-to-back questions now. And if you want personal consultation from 21K School, what we recommend, drop your name and number to Karuna Kochar. Her name is already appearing on the screen, and she would be able to help you. So direct question, Yash. First question is that could you give example for a 9-year-old, what kind of subjects would he be studying?
He would be studying science, math, language, and if he's interested, additional language courses as well, and computational thinking. But he also does a lot more projects, which is units of inquiry, which is an integrated approach towards learning. Units of inquiry are not about a particular strand of the subject, but it integrates language, arts, maths, science, and everything.
Okay, so they have interdisciplinary subjects right from the age of like as early as grade one, I'm supposing, is it?
One, grade
Okay, and
one,
if parents
right? Yeah.
want training, because a lot of parents they have the confidence, they want to take that road. Do you think they need any special training for that?
For homeschooling
For
his children.
homeschooling their children?
No, not at all. But it'll be good for you to be aware about the developments in the learning science and the future trends, so that you could give the right set of education in terms of the rigor without making it far more structured or overly complex for the child. I think that understanding about the child's and the learning progress will be critical.
Wow, amazing. And this question was by Akanksha Singh, asking the question by Dr. Priyanka Gupta. She wishes to know about the examination center for 10th exams if the student gives IGCSE through 21K and the child is in Mumbai or a tier 2 city. So, what will be the examination center?
So currently, with the developments from the UGC, there's an equivalence for all the private candidates as well. So the child can appear for the exam through any recognized Cambridge school. We also have a tie-up with schools in Delhi and Bangalore, which allows for the child to be registered. But we facilitate the child, in terms of signing up with the local school wherever it's available or the nearest city, to appear for the exams as a private candidate.
And I can vouch for that, that this is one of the most crucial support that any parent would need. You give your child the skill set, the foundational skills, and when it comes to assessment, if you get somebody to handhold you there, nothing like it. If you want to go this pathway, do it. Okay, how
Mhm.
much time would you say a student has to dedicate on daily basis for this experience?
It's 3 hours up to the primary and 4 hours from grade 6 to 12. In the early years, it's far lesser. It's just 1 to 2 hours.
Are they continuous hours?
There are, of course, breaks in between each. Each subject takes about 40 minutes, then there's a 10-minute break, and then we continue back with 40 minutes as well. Yeah.
Right. And Vrinda Datta, she wants to know that her daughter is 5 years old. How would homeschooling or in terms of online support by 21K, how learning could be experiential?
It's completely so experiential doesn't mean that you have to be in the physical environment. Experiential is about, understanding the concepts in the context of where you are. So you can also do experiments up to grade 10 at home using, simple tools and, salts and other things that's available in the kitchen itself. So experiential learning is about, experiencing the concept by yourselves, doing certain projects, building blocks together, and other things. So that's why we've also started our learning garages, which is live in Bangalore, Pune, Hyderabad, and Delhi, where the child can walk into these centers and also engage for 90 minutes on robotics, AI, 3D printing, electronics, design thinking, and so on.
Wow, that's very interesting. And Vijay Gupta, he wants a book recommendation.
Oh.
Any good book for homeschooling parents?
The best book that I can recommend is The Ethics of Excellence.
Okay, Ethics
I
of
think
Excellence.
ethics of excellence. I think it's a Bible for me. I think that influenced a lot of what I do at 21K school. And I think it's a must read for all the parents as well.
And your take on screen time, because on one side the parents are worrying about it, on the other side we're talking about online schooling. So what would you say about screen time concerns?
So by definition, screen time is about passive learning. If you're watching a Netflix video or YouTube, that's screen time. But if you're speaking to someone, like I think the last 50 minutes is not counted technically as a screen time because you're speaking to someone. And the reason behind is because you're conversing with someone, you're blinking more, you're engaged, emotionally and cognitively. So it doesn't really gets counted as
We
screen time.
totally agree. Totally agree. I think it's a superfluous concern from the parents. Screen time, as long as it is engaging, interactive, the child is reflecting. It's never bad.
Just
Okay, Mr. Madan Mohani wants to know about would child be able to learn time management and problem solving skills via homeschooling and online support?
Oh, absolutely. I think big time. I mean, because one, if you're starting the classes on time, ending the time, plus your projects, Rubel, you'll be surprised that right from early years, we start teaching goal management. And, I still remember how a KG2 child said, my goal is to learn to tie shoelaces.
Oh, so sweet.
I mean,
Wow.
see the time management, goal thinking, and all those prerogatives. I think so. We use a concept called habits of mind. It's a
Okay.
very powerful, that's another book that if you'd want to read, 16 Habits of Mind. I think it teaches
Okay.
about, it goes much beyond just multiple intelligence theory. And there are simple habits, right? Like responsible risk taking, finding humor, persistence, metacognition, that's thinking about thinking, and how that could be developed in the child. I think that's again a great resource book. I think a lot of free resources are available on the website on habits of mind. We are the only certified school in India to be have certified by Institute of Habits of Mind, and we have deeply integrated these 16 habits of mind in our school program right from early years to all the way to 12th.
How interesting. And we have taken the list of the books that you are sharing
Yeah,
because
noted
one
down.
of the things, giving a hack to everybody who's here, we gift books to the people we want to by also mentioning who recommended. That becomes a very thoughtful gift. So, Dr. Priyanka Gupta, she wants to know how would children who are homeschooled face real world, the challenges there, the peer pressure. What is success exactly for these children?
Success is, for the child is about becoming better than who they were yesterday. I don't think it's necessary for the child to go through the grind in order to face. I mean, you don't have to get bullied to know and become stronger. I think that's absolutely, I would never want my child to face bullying simply because he wants to become stronger. I think that's, I mean, as long as he's confident, he's able to converse and he has a very clear thought process and problem solving skills, he will be successful. I mean, my parents were never educated well, but they were successful. It's not that education. I think there's one problem in India today is that we overemphasize the need of schooling in our society today. The schools are not at all critical at all for the child at all. I strongly believe that. It just helps you to learn a few things, but there are a lot of other things that you don't learn because you're spending too much time in your school.
Oh, yes. And I think we are talking about a civil world where, as long as the child can intellectually and cognitively contribute, when it comes to dealing with the society, it comes naturally. A mother, she has a very real concern. Shanmugha Priya, she says that she would be sending her child to a formal school at the age of 6 or beyond that. So, would she need a transfer certificate? And she also wants to know that would it be difficult for a child to adjust to school if the kindergarten has been homeschool based?
It shouldn't. I think grade one should be fairly easy. Most schools do not require transfer certificate at grade one. As per the Right to Education Act, up to eighth standard, you should be able to get admission, secure admission in any school, international, CBSE or state board, without transfer certificate, as long as the child meets the age criteria.
Okay. And another very relevant question is, if, let's say, the child does homeschooling with the online education support of 21K for a year, let's say grade 6, would the certificate by 21K be recognized by the school the child is shifting to? Let's say a year with 21K and then to the next class?
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of transition that happens between the child. I think over the last 6 years, over 500 to 600 learners have gone back to physical school. So there has been no problem, including they've got admission in Kendra Vidyalayas and Jawahar Navodaya, which is a residential government school. So it's been widely accepted. Of course, you can't transfer in ninth and 10th because it's a 2 year program, and between 11th and 12th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Sudesh Verma says that her brother, his brother is in Ethiopia and they are not satisfied with the education there. The child is 7 years old. They are considering homeschooling as an option. So, can the child from Ethiopia be part of this journey?
Oh, absolutely. I think we already have about 10 to 12 learners from Ethiopia. We have learners from 78 countries, including USA, where the child logs in at late night. So Ethiopia is definitely welcome. Yeah.
Miss Divya Sharma, she says that her sixth grader child, the moment she talks about homeschooling, the child denies the discussion. So, how can she create interest in the child for homeschooling?
I think it's just by understanding the child, what is his interest, and creating a structure. If you're trying to replicate the school environment, it would not work. But if you align it with the child's interest and goals, and I think it's a very collaborative process. It can't be a parent-driven process. It cannot be parent-driven.
Okay, and I think Karuna has answered one question very well, so going further. Okay, I think the rest of the questions,
No, I've
Karuna, you have
answered.
answered. Any question?
Yeah,
I'm
I
just,
have definitely tried and answered as many
no, no,
questions.
I'm sure.
And
See, the motive
Priya
is
is
really to
also
help the community there. So I can read a few more I can see. So Ms. Divya says that she's okay to put her children in homeschooling, but she's only concerned about social skills. So I think,
We've already
Divya ma'am, we have already
social
discovered that
skills.
social skills are not about physically meeting all the time. They are actually about productive interaction.
And
So,
other social skills are better developed
oh
in
yes.
school because they're interacting with different age
And
groups.
nowadays, for even people like us, we organize TEDx and MUNs and debating clubs and lit fairs, book clubs. So we know that when you have the interactive batch of students, that's the social skill we are talking about. It's not really, maybe it's bullying you're talking about. We don't really need to train. And you would be surprised to know a lot of researchers have happened that there's more bullying only for preteens and teens. As the humans mature and they are cognitively developed, their interaction and transaction with the society is more meaningful. So I think,
I'd like to share here, Rubel. I don't have a single friend from my school days.
okay.
I went to a traditional school, in-person school. So it doesn't mean that everyone who goes to traditional school is extrovert or is social.
Right. I think I would agree. So we can see a lot of responses have already been done by Karuna. So I think it's time that we'll have to bid our buys. And the final message I would like Karuna to give, what is the action plan for the parents who are part of this interaction? Karuna, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Rouble and Shikha, and thank you, Yashwanth sir. So I have left my email ID. I've tried and answered, and Priya helped me. Thank you, Priya. As many questions as possible, but I've also left my personal email ID for everyone. please write to me if I've missed some answers. And we have our WhatsApp group. I hope everyone here is a part of our WhatsApp community. So feel free to, just reach out to me. I am a part of the WhatsApp community as well. Dr. Rouble, will they get I'll put in my number on the WhatsApp community as
I
well.
think
So
you would share a final compiled message, Karuna,
sure.
and I would share it in the portal. And
Okay.
please, everybody, our job really is to bridge the learning solutions out there. We feel that 21K is doing a wonderful job, and with a visionary like Mr. Yash, it has the direction. It has, I think, the right feeding, which makes any institution progress and prosper. We are talking about future education, future skills. And that's what 21K is doing. Thank you so much, Yash, for being here, for really responding to lots of questions. There's still a lot left. So so I think for that, your team would be up front. Final message from your end, and then let's conclude.
No, thank you so much. I think these are important questions, important conversations that as a society we should be having. My, closing remarks would be revolving around the child. I think it's important for us to decide what is right for the child rather than it doesn't matter which system of schooling is important. I think it starts with what does the child want, and as long as you can put structure and some rigor and flexibility into this learning system, I think that's the right schooling system for your child.
Wow. Thank you so much, and looking forward to staying in connection so that we can help more parents out there with the solutions they deserve.
We
And
will
see you
share a contact number on the WhatsApp group for anyone who, those who've shared the number, I've tried to take it down, but in case we missed, I will share a number, then y'all can be in touch on that.
We'll do it, certainly. See you soon. Thank you so much.
Dr.
Thank you.
Rubel, we'll just take 2 minutes. I am just compiling a few information for the parents to refer to, and then we can call it a day. Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, certainly. So should we continue talking with Yash?
As you like
We would
it.
love to. We can. I think, Yash, one question which I was going to telephonically ask you was about you started with anyway solution finding for the people by opening physical school. So what has been your inspiration?
For the online schooling,
Or I think right from the beginning, what inspires you to think of other students and their families?
I think it's a teacher in grade 9 who called me duffer because I was not good at all in the academics, and I ranked 38 out of class of 42 learners. And I think she had real doubts that I'll be ever be able to complete my 10th. So I think fortunately, the vice principal of the school, Mr. Devdas, when he came to know about it, he was not happy about it, and he volunteered that I would like to train him for 2 months. So he came home for 2 months. I think I didn't knew then, but I think that was about personalization, flexibility, and acceleration. The three key pillars at 21K school. Where if I was not mood of studying at 4 o'clock, he would come next day morning at 10. And that's what changed. In 2 months, I was able to complete the entire board syllabus of grade 10. Somebody who was not academically brilliant till grade 9 was able to complete the board exam syllabus in 2 months' time. And I went on to secure sixth rank in the school out of 180 learners.
Oh,
And by 12th, I stood 21st rank in the state of Karnataka in the Karnataka Pre-University Board. So, I think if you give the right environment for the child, it can do wonders.
right. So
Absolutely.
somebody's asking for the book names you recommended. It is Ethics of Excellence and
Ethics of Excellence and
60
16
Habits of.
Habits of Mind. Right. I
And
think both the
also,
books available on Kindle as well. Yeah.
oh yes, and I think even I am really excited to read through them. It's always, I think, inspires what they are reading. I think what visionaries are reading, what is their thought process, that really becomes a great book list for anyone. Also, one parent has asked here, and interest, how is online schooling with 21K different from COVID years?
Oh, it's way different. I think in COVID years, there was no online schools other than what we had started because, so most physical schools were trying to go online, and I think they did a great job by that. But they were not designed to be an online school. So as online first school. 21K is equipped, our facilitators, our support system, our orientation plan, our pedagogy is everything designed to be a digital first school. So clearly, the pedagogy, what happens? So I remember a school in Chennai. I think we had consulted with that school before we started 21K school. They replicated the entire 8 hours schedule online. I said,
Oh,
"What? You can't do that. I mean, just because you have to ensure and justify the fee structure doesn't mean you teach more in an online school." So I think that's the key difference. I think we were designed to be an online school compared to the schools during the COVID time, which wanted to be an online because of the circumstances.
oh, yes, I think very well said. And I think we all parents have had that bitter pill of how during the COVID years, the teachers were trying to have the same 7 o'clock to
And the
two
parents
o'clock
as well,
timetable. Oh my
trying
God.
at home.
Unbelievable. And I remember that in the beginning, maybe a month, we were still excited about it.
Yeah.
It was badly exhausting. Okay, another question is usually when students go for NIOS and all those boards for the test, they are not happy with the testing environment. So, are the schools which are related to 21K, do they have a certain quality testing environment?
Unfortunately, no. But based on our experience, we can definitely suggest within the city which center is better than the other. But that's something that I have personally raised with the NIS chairman as well. And if all goes well in the future, we may even set up our own NIS exam test centers across India.
So, thank you so much, Mr. Yash. It was an
Thank you so
absolute
much.
treat. And we feel already empowered. We
Well
feel
informed.
that we feel well informed, and we feel that now, if the parents have a query about how they can homeschool, we know the connecting link is 21K school. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you so much.